I have been working on 100 Rolodex cards for the 100-day project, which is now finishing. I just completed my last set of cards, and these ones came together pretty easily. Why easy? Because I created this template that I used along with collage papers to create a foundation for some really awesome Rolodex cards. So I'm going to show you how I made those, and I'm also making this download available to you. So let me show you how I used them, and hopefully it'll give you some ideas for how you can use them in your own collage art. I created these printables so that I could put these sheets of die-cut rotary cards through the printer. So here's what they look like. They're sheets just like this. And this is how they turn out. So what I want to do is to use these images on this printable and glue some background pages first before I push it through the printer. So there is a link in the description box where you can get these printables. I have some with the actual outlines so that you can see where the rotary cards are. And then I have some printables, well, exactly the same, but without the outline, so that when you print, when you go to print, there's no line that is going to be printing on the top. It's just clear. Right, so I'm going to be using these kind of as a map of where things are located. And what I will do is I'm going to start, I'm looking at the orientation of where these notches are. So I will start with this one. And I'm going to hold it and look at it and see, knowing where the print is going to, fall on each of these cards. And then I have some pieces of papers that I can glue down. And then I was, looking through my things and I was like, oh, maybe I can use some of these. In this case, what I will do is I will put down the papers first, run it through the printer, and then I will add embellishments over the top. Something like stickers, or I have some postage stamps, depending on what it is I would like to do. Right, so of the two printables, this one has more space. This one has just got a ton of typeface markings on it. And with this one, I don't want to add really busy additional text and things because there's already text there. So I think I'm going to have a different approach for this one. This one has some spots open, so I will get creative about what I can put in these places, and then just, also experiment with different kinds of colors and papers that I can use in this. All right, so I have got my little box, and this is a great time for me to use up a lot of my scraps. I've got a bunch of little tiny pieces. So in this case, I think I might put this, let's see, maybe right here. So I will lay out things first and then I'll go back and glue them. So what I'm looking for are small bits that I can put. I'm also looking for what's on those bits. Handwriting is good if I have something like numbers. Something that's, oh yeah, that looks really good right there. That would be good. But like this is super busy, for example, and I wouldn't want to put text right there because, well, I mean, I could. That actually could be okay with text because there's no text right in that spot. But I do need to be careful about, making things that are, putting things that are just too busy. because I really do want that to show through. So let's see. Now when I have a piece of paper that is going to cover that notch, I can use my die cutting tool to make sure that it fits as I want it to. So what I typically do is I will take a pen or a pencil and I will mark exactly where I want this to be. That way I can come in and I can just use my tool to punch a hole where I want it to go. Okay, there, that's good. Now, what else do I put here? Now, since this last one is really very busy, what I want to do for this one is to take a solid color. And I have this little pad of, it's like construction paper in these various shades. And this I think might be good to have as a small piece or a portion of that background. Okay, now I'm going to set this aside because I've got this pretty much taken care of, and I want to do the layout for the second one, and then I will glue everything down. Okay, so here's the second one, and here is what this looks like. Okay, so since I have so much going on here, I want to keep it kind of simple. Now I found some old pages that I needed to remove out of a book because they were blank and they were taking up, the whole book was blank, and they were taking up too much of the thickness, and I had to remove some of the pages to make it, thinner. So I have these really nice aged pieces, and I can do a couple of things with these. So what I want to do is make sure that I'm utilizing some of this edge piece that is kind of darkened. And let's see how thick. Like that maybe. That's pretty thick. That pretty much takes up the whole width of the piece, which is fine, I'll just do some thin, some thick, and see how that goes. So again, I want to mark this. And what I'm going to do is once I have these background pieces on, I can add additional things once it's gone through the printer. So I have leftover of this. So let's go ahead and use some of this. Maybe I'll do it a little bit thinner. I also have some of these labels. These might be interesting to put on. So I could do something like this. And what else? This whole strip of labels is kind of interesting. Maybe I'll split it in half and see how that goes. Okay, let me glue all of these things down. I'm going to run them through the printer, and then we will see how it turns out and what else I want to add on the top. All right, I am back. I glued everything down. I printed them out, and I want to show you. First, I want to show you what these look like without the outlines. I did a practice run on these to make sure that I was pointing in the right direction when I was feeding the paper in, so that my pieces came out properly. Look at this. I love it. I think it turned out great. I like how there's different color backgrounds, and then you've got this really interesting type on the top. These little labels are super, super cool. I wish I would have put one more label down here, but that's okay. And then for the second one, this one, I could have put a few more things in maybe. I was trying to be careful, but that's okay because I can always add more layers to the top. But overall, I'm very happy with these. All right, so what to do now over the top? With this one, I might see if I can come up with some more kind of small pieces that I can put in here, like this. But I will just go through my little collage papers and see what I can add. All right, so I'm just going to play with papers and put it together. So here's how they are turning out. I'm done with this second layer of mostly postage stamps. I did make an attempt not to put postage stamps, but postage stamps are just so colorful and they've got such pretty designs on them that I just couldn't hold myself back. I really like this one. This is really nice. It's got that little bit of red on the lines and then the red in the stamp. This one's also really pretty here. So next, what I want to do is I'm going to glue these together so that it's a front and a back. Once I do that, then I'm going to tear them out. So what I will do is I will look at each individual card and then determine if I should add some inking or some color around. For example, here it's very, very plain. So I might, I don't know, not quite sure. I don't even know what color I would use. Same thing here, but something very light right there. So let me start gluing these together and then tearing them up and go from there. All right, I've pulled out my soft pastels and I'm going to see if I can add just a tiny bit of color onto some of these cards. So I'm going to get, well, I guess I can just use this piece of background paper. I'll move this out of the way. Now for this first one, I want to add a bit, I think a green, some kind of just a green shadowing just on the edges. I have one of these little foam tips and I have a green pastel. So let's see. That's what it looks like. So I'm going to just take some of this powder, pick it up, and then just see if I can add it onto here. There is just the slightest bit of color, which is fine. That's what I'm going for. I just wanted to take away some of the whiteness. It was just a little bit too stark. So that's fine. I do like that. So now I'm going to try and do the same thing with some of the other pieces depending on what color that I want to stand out. Okay, so I'm done with my coloring. Now I want to see if there's any more rubber stamping that I want to do on the top. This one, right off the bat, I can say that I don't like it. It's not balanced. I've got too much going on down on the bottom and not enough on the top. Plus this blue is kind of overwhelming, so I need to do something with this one. I need to fix it. The others look very good, but what I do want to add is a little bit of this colored ink, barn door. It's just a really nice color. So I want to just add a few elements with that barn door. So for this one, what I think I'm going to do is I pulled out a scrap and I think I'm going to add a little bit of stamping on there with this scrap to kind of hide that blue a little bit. So I can use this. I can use this one also. I use this one a lot. Maybe I'll just go ahead and use this. What color do I want to use? Well, I have these kind of purples, and they're kind of at the same palette. This actually is very similar to the lilac rose. So I think I would like to go with this plum, because I don't want it to be too overwhelming. Let's just see what it looks like if I do this. Much better. Much better. I do like that. Okay. That's taken care of. Now, what else do I need to do? I want to put some postmarks on. I have this. I have my number 4. And I have this round one. The round one I saw on the yellow rose. Where is that? Where is the yellow rose? Here. This yellow rose has this pink postmark or stamp cancellation mark already. And so I have this round one and I thought that I would do that right over the top. So this pink, I think this is very similar to this lilac. So let me try it. And what I think I'm going to have to do is do it on the second stamp, because it might be too strong if I do it on the first. So there's the first, and there's the second. Yeah, I think so. So let me do that again. Sometimes if you don't want the ink like really saturated, you do a first stamp and then you can just go ahead and do a second. There. That'll do. Something I want to put up there. Possibly. Or even this once again. Let me see what this looks like in barn door. And I probably would have it, there's 2 units, and I would probably just do 1.5. Ooh, too bright. But I could do it on the second stamp. Yes, I like that. Okay, so apply it. First stamp, and then second stamp. Nice. I like that. That looks good. Good, okay. This one I think is done. This one needs something down in this corner, so I'm gonna put this back in the to-do pile. This one I'm gonna say is done. This one I could do something here. Not sure. This one does need a postmark, so let's do that. So I've got these, so I will take this gray here, and I will do this one maybe here. Yeah, that looks good. What about this one? This one, I feel like it needs something here in the corner. Let me come back to this one. For this one, I have this parcel post stamp. I think I'm going to just put that across the top. Yeah, I like that. I like it because there's a lot of stuff going on down at the bottom, and it needed something at the top, so that works really well. I still think I need something over here. I've got this corner stamp. This would work in this corner, but I might need to use a piece of paper. Let's see. It might be interesting to just have that, even if it's not a full piece, but just a portion, just like that. This stamp is kind of brown, and if I put this in the corner, what color would I use? Maybe a dark blue? Maybe a dark blue on the second stamp so that it's very faded. 1 and 2. There we go. That looks good. I like it. The last thing I did off camera was that I took a little bit of this ink with a sponge and I went around the edges of my cards. The reason why I did this was because the white was just so white, and I really wanted to dampen that down. So I just went around the edges and just kind of inked them. The only edge I did not do was this one because I like the way this contrasts with the white, so I left it as was. But all the rest have this kind of brown color. I'd actually started with this one, but I realized that it was not dark enough. So that's when I went with that very dark brown, and I like it a lot. I like how it's so dramatic. Look at the blue one. This was the one that I did not like. And after I did that inking around the edges, it looks really good. On the other side, let me see if there's any standouts here. These two, with the contrast of this paper in the background, the colored paper, it just looks really good, I think. So that is how these have turned out. So the last thing I need to do is put them inside of my Rolodex. I really like the way these two stamps are as a pair, and This is blue with this blue. I like this little detail up here. These are great. Super busy. Lots going on there, but that's okay. And then the red here with the red. This is a really nice pairing as well. So the 100-day project is just about over. Did I create 100 cards? No, I did not. And that's okay. I created about close to 70, 68, 70, something like that. I'm definitely happy with those results because it's more than I would have done just had I sat down and did a set of Rolodex cards. It encouraged me to come back to the project to do more than just a few. So I am pleased with that. Don't forget that you can download some of those templates as well. And in the folder, there are more templates than what I showed you in this video. If you would like to see how I used those first templates, then this video is going to show you how I created some collages with them. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you over there.